Hi there, and welcome to my testimony. My name's Bridget. I'm a super small YouTube creator. I'm a teen, and I just make Christian-based content. But I have never shared my story and why I am so in love with spreading the word of God and Jesus and the acceptance that I feel through him. So if you want to hear my story, feel free to stick around and we're going to talk about it. Alright, so I'm just going to start off by saying that I have always believed in God. To me, there had to be life after death, there couldn't just be nothing. So heaven has made sense to me, and so therefore God always made sense to me. I also didn't feel like the earth could just be created from nothing. Obviously there's science, but I don't know, to me God has been a concept, I guess, that always made sense. So I knew of God, and I knew there was God, but I never had a relationship really with God. So we're just going to start from the beginning. I was baptized into the Catholic Church, and that will play a part of my story later, but that's good to know for right now. So I'd say it starts getting kind of rough from a pretty young age. My parents were divorced, and my dad really played no part in my life at all. He suffered from a lot of addiction, and so growing up, that was something that really took a toll on me, I feel like. Obviously, I think most children whose parents are divorced, you feel that guilt somehow that it's your fault or that's something, or you're not loved, or all of those things. And so that was something that weighed on me a lot. It starts kind of there, and then you get a little older and you lose people that you love. And so that's another weight. And then when I got to be around probably 13, 14, I started dealing with depression pretty majorly. I felt like it progressively got worse, kind of. And I did try to get some help, and I was on medication, and I talked to somebody, and those things kind of do help a little bit, but it's not like depression is something that can be cured necessarily. And so I was just struggling with a lot of things. I felt like I had this weight, just always carrying around this weight with me, and no matter what I did, I just was never good enough for myself. Truly lack of self-worth to the max. And I think everybody deals with that in some way, but there was times where I probably did things to myself that I didn't deserve, and I was just so cruel to myself and judgmental because I felt like I was never enough. And so I was in a pretty dark place for the last, I don't know, probably two-ish years. Not necessarily all the way through. There was ups and downs, but the downs were pretty low, and I just never really felt like my life had true value. I was living in it, but there was never any true meaning, really. I was just kind of there, if that makes sense. But then last summer, I got the experience to attend the National Eucharistic Congress, National Eucharistic Revival. And if you don't know what that is, it was this big Catholic gathering of just tons and tons and tons of people. And it was a revival of the Eucharist in the Catholic Church. And I can honestly say that I didn't really, when I got the opportunity to go, I don't know if I truly was super excited to, I was excited to go travel, but I don't know if I was looking forward to the experience itself. I wasn't supposed to be able to go, and I really think this was God working through it. I didn't get a ticket originally because I had just started working at my job when we were purchasing tickets, so I didn't have a ticket to go. It's the week before I was supposed to have to work. Somehow I wasn't scheduled to work at all, but I still didn't have a ticket, so it didn't really matter. And then someone I knew wasn't able to go, and so they were like, you should have this ticket, you should be able to go. And so I end up the week before I'm given a ticket, and I'm now able to go, and so I went to this convention, and it was just crazy. First of all, I get down there and there's so many people who are so passionate about their faith, and it's truly this beautiful thing to see. But my testimony kind of takes place probably a day or two into this convention. I'm there and I'm sitting in this youth session in a room full of tons of other people, and again, it was neat to be there and to see people. And it's not like I disagreed with any of the things that were happening, but I had just never felt like I truly connected with Jesus at this point. So it was I don't know, I just didn't really feel, I guess, probably a way of a lot of the other people felt there. But anyways, I'm sitting in this room with tons and tons of other youth, and this priest comes on stage and he starts talking about forgiveness. And all of a sudden he starts naming off all of these things that just hit me so hard. Things about what I am forgiven for and how I am saved. And I just cannot explain in that moment the way that the Holy Spirit entered into me. And in that moment when I am being forgiven and knowing that Jesus died for me, I can just feel it moving through my body and working in my body, and I'm crying and crying because in that moment I knew that I was loved, and all of the feelings of never being good enough and never truly experiencing love, they just left. And I knew God loved me. I knew Jesus died for me. It was real. It was so real. And I felt saved, and I felt loved, and I felt like I was enough. And that was the first time in my life where I had truly, truly just felt like it was all gonna work out. It was gonna be okay. And so that was where really Jesus started entering into my heart, I feel like. And the rest of that convention was such a beautiful experience for me. And one thing I've left out on my channel before, which makes me sad now that I think about it, is how deeply I believe in my faith, my Catholic faith. And lots of people hear that and they don't, they're like, ooh, Catholic, no, I don't want to. And I think that's why I haven't necessarily shared that, because people are so quick to jump at that word, because there's, I don't know, it's a very, you could call it a strict faith maybe, And I understand that bad things have happened in the Catholic, in the past. Bad things have happened with the people involved, but I also don't think you can base a foundation of the faith with the people who have been in. I mean, the people in the faith need to be separated, I guess. And so for me, I can't base my entire faith on the choices that other people in the past have made, if that makes any sense. But my Catholic faith, I mean, I just think this is one of the most beautiful things. And it just makes, now learning about it, it just makes so much sense to me. And I'm hoping to make other videos explaining more detailed events of why Catholicism makes so much sense to me now. But for this video right now, all that matters is I was saved at that Catholic event, and the rest of this time that I was at the convention was truly just so wonderful. Like, you just can feel God's light shining upon you and being surrounded by so many other people who feel the same way. So since coming home from that event, I knew it couldn't just be like, okay, well, I felt God's love and now like we're good, we don't have to do anything else. No. I knew I had to start making some changes in my life, and truly showing God that, like, God, I want you to know that I love you. And so, especially in the last couple months, I've just truly been trying to think about every day as I think God would want me to live it. And the more time I spend in prayer and the more time I spend just thinking about God in everything I do, I have specific times for prayer and reading my Bible, but also going through my day. I can't explain the peace I feel when I stop, when I'm stressed out, and I say, God, I'm just going to give this to you, or this is part of your plan. Truly, like, I know He is working in me, and making videos like this and the videos that I have made and sharing God's love, maybe only 2 people will see this, but if one of those people finds any value in it and maybe gives thanks to God for their day today because of it, then it was worth it. Because God is so good. And once I finally encountered Him and accepted Him, I think there was lots of times in my life before where God was probably trying to push me, but I was selfish, or I was too absorbed in myself, where I didn't accept Him. But once you get the push and you open your heart, you just have this love and this peace. And I really have not struggled. After that encounter at the National Eucharistic Convention, truly I can say that I really haven't struggled with depression very much anymore. And obviously it's still there a little bit, but like, it's so much easier for me to get through. And I've just found peace. And my self-worth, the value of myself has just increased so much. I cannot explain, because I know that God chose to create me. And so I need to love myself the way that He loves me, because I'm His creation and I want to take care of His creation. So anyways, I guess that's essentially my testimony. can go from struggling to peace in really an instant when you choose to accept Jesus into your heart. So I hope you enjoyed listening, and I hope you find Jesus in your day today.